The fluorescent lights of the emergency room have always been too bright. That's the first thing that registers, even before the pain. A harsh, sterile white that seems to bore straight through my closed eyelids. The second thing is the sound. A symphony of chaos carefully controlled. Monitors beeping in urgent rhythms, wheels squeaking against linoleum, voices calling out numbers and orders in a language I used to know but can no longer understand. I try to open my eyes. The left one doesn't want to cooperate. The right one gives me fragments. Blurred shapes moving fast. Ceiling tiles passing overhead like I'm on a conveyor belt. Someone is pressing something against my side, hard, and the pressure brings a wave of nausea so intense I would scream if I had the air. I don't have the air. The car. The headlights coming through the driver's side window. The metal folding like paper. My own voice, screaming a name that wasn't there. Then nothing. Then this. They're talking about me. I know the clinical detachment of it. I worked as a nurse for 3 years before I left, before I decided I wanted more than this town could offer, before I decided I wanted more than him. They're saying words like hypovolemic and tachycardic, and I know enough to know those words are not my friends. Those words mean I'm bleeding. Those words mean my heart is working too hard to compensate for the blood I'm losing. Those words mean I might not make it. But here's the thing about almost dying. Your brain does strange things. It doesn't focus on the right now, on the immediate danger. It drifts. It floats above the gurney and looks down at the chaos and thinks about the most random things. Like the fact that I never returned that library book. Like the argument I had with my mother last week about whether I'd come home for Christmas. Like the way the autumn leaves look this morning, gold and red against a sky so blue it hurt. And then, without warning, it thinks about him. 5 years ago, Liam O'Connor stood in the parking lot of the diner where we'd had our first date, and he begged me not to leave. I can see it like it's happening right now, projected onto the ceiling tiles above me. His hands, those hands that could set a broken bone with such gentle precision, that could hold a frightened child until they stopped crying, that could trace the line of my jaw like I was something precious, those hands were shaking. He wasn't a man who shook. He was steady, solid, the kind of person you wanted in an emergency because nothing seemed to rattle him. But that night, in the parking lot, he was rattled. "Claire, please." His voice cracked. "I was going to ask you tonight," he said. "Stupid, right? Thought I'd take you to the Overlook, give you the ring my grandmother gave my grandfather. Thought you'd say yes." I couldn't breathe. I hadn't known. He'd kept it so quiet, so carefully hidden, and now it was too late. "Liam." "Go, Claire." He stepped back. "Go find your more. But know this, I meant every word I ever said to you. And I'll mean them 5 years from now. 10 years from now. That's not going to change. That's the thing about love like this. It doesn't go away just because you leave." He turned and walked back toward the diner, and I watched him go, and something in me broke so cleanly I didn't even feel it until I was on the highway, until I was 100 miles away, until I was in Chicago and the city lights were everything I wanted and nothing I needed. I never saw him again. Until now. BP dropping, she's crashing. The voice cuts through my memory like a scalpel. I'm back on the gurney, back in the too bright lights, back in a body that is failing me. The movement stops. We are in a trauma bay now. More lights. More faces. More hands. And then I see him. For a moment, I think I'm hallucinating. I think this is what dying feels like. Your brain giving you one last gift, one last glimpse of the face you loved most before the lights go out forever. But he's real. I know he's real because he's not looking at me like a memory. He's looking at me like a patient. He's wearing blue scrubs and a white coat with his name embroidered on the chest. Dr. Liam O'Connor. He looks older. Weary in a way that 26-year-old Liam didn't know how to be. His jaw is sharper, his hair is shorter, and there are lines around his eyes that weren't there before. But it's him. It's him, and he's just recognized me. I see it happen. The moment his brain connects the face on the gurney to the name on the chart. The moment 5 years collapses into a single heartbeat. His hands, those hands, freeze for just a fraction of a second over my chest. Someone is shouting something about blood pressure, about getting me to the OR, about calling trauma surgery. Liam doesn't hear them. For one impossible moment, the emergency room disappears. It's just us. It's just him looking at me, and me looking at him, and 5 years of silence stretching between us like a wound that never quite healed. Then his face changes. The shock smooths over. The professional mask slides into place. He becomes Dr. O'Connor, and Dr. O'Connor does not have a history with the woman bleeding out on his table. Get me 2 large bore 4s, O negative stat, and page trauma surgery again. Tell them we don't have minutes, we have seconds. His voice is steady, commanding. The voice of a man who has spent 5 years becoming exactly what he was always meant to be. Let's move, people. She's not dying in my bay today. My bay. The words hit me somewhere deeper than the pain. This is his place now. His territory. The emergency room of the county hospital. The one I left because it wasn't enough, because I wanted more. And he's the doctor. He's the one in charge. He's the one who decides if I live or die. Life has a cruel sense of humor. I try to speak. I try to say his name. But all that comes out is a wet, gurgling sound that makes the nurse beside me grab more gauze, more pressure, more everything. Liam's eyes meet mine. Just for a second. Just long enough for me to see that the mask isn't perfect. Just long enough for me to see the fear underneath. The fear, and something else. Something that looks exactly like it did 5 years ago in that parking lot. Something that looks like love. Claire. He says my name softly, just for me, just between us. I need you to fight. Do you hear me? You don't get to come back here after 5 years and die on me. Not today. I want to tell him I'm sorry. I want to tell him I thought about him every day. I want to tell him that Chicago was bright and loud and full of everything I wanted, but it was empty of everything I needed. I want to tell him that the more I found was just more of the same, just different faces in different places, just a life that looked good on paper and felt like nothing in my bones. I want to tell him I should have stayed. But the darkness is creeping in at the edges of my vision, and his face is getting further away, and the last thing I hear before the world goes silent is his voice, no longer steady, no longer commanding, just desperate. Claire. Claire, stay with me. Don't you dare leave me again. Don't you dare. The darkness doesn't last. It fragments into pieces, flashes of light, snippets of sound, the distant beeping of machines that sound like they're underwater. I drift in and out, tethered to the world by the smallest threads. Pain pulls me back. Voices pull me back. But mostly, it's him. His voice cuts through the fog every time. Claire, can you hear me? Squeeze my finger if you can hear me. I try. God, I try. But my body is a foreign country now, and I've lost the passport. I can't find the way to make my hand move. My fingers respond. I'm trapped inside myself, watching from a great distance as strangers in scrubs poke and prod and pump fluids into my failing veins. But I can hear him. I can always hear him. And while I drift, the past comes rushing in to fill the spaces between the beeping monitors. 5 years and 8 months ago, Liam O'Connor walked into the county hospital emergency room as a brand new doctor, fresh out of residency, scared out of his mind. I was working triage that night. Just a nurse, just a small-town girl who'd gone to community college and gotten her degree and come back home because it was easier, because it was safe, because my mother said it was a good job and I should be grateful. I was grateful. But I was also bored. Restless. Watching the same faces come through with the same problems. Drunk drivers on Saturday night, heart attacks in the early morning, kids with fevers and broken bones and the endless, grinding repetition of small-town life. Then I looked up, and there he was. He wasn't handsome in the obvious way. He was tall and a little too thin, with dark hair that stuck up at odd angles and hands that seemed too large for his wrists. But his eyes were the kindest I'd ever seen. Warm brown, like coffee with too much cream, and they looked at me like I was the only person in the room. You must be Claire, he said, and his voice was steady, calm, the kind of voice that made you feel like everything was going to be okay. I'm Dr. O'Connor. New guy. Thought I'd introduce myself before I mess something up and you have to clean up after me. I laughed. I couldn't help it. There was something so disarming about him, So unpretentious. In a hospital full of egos and attitudes, he was just real. "Nice to meet you, Dr. O'Connor," I said. "And don't worry. I've been cleaning up after doctors for 3 years. I'm very good at it." His smile lit up his whole face. "I don't doubt it." That was the beginning. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't love at first sight. It was just easy. We worked together. We talked during slow shifts. He brought me coffee, always black, always with an extra shot of espresso, because he'd noticed that's how I liked it. I brought him sandwiches from the diner down the street, because he kept forgetting to eat. Somewhere along the way, easy turned into essential. 3 months after we met, my father had a heart attack. I got the call at 2 in the morning. My mother's voice, high and thin with terror. "Claire, it's your dad. They're taking him to the hospital. They said it's bad." I don't remember driving there. I don't remember parking. I only remember bursting through the emergency room doors and finding Liam already there, already in his white coat, already waiting for me. He took my hands. His were steady. His in surgery. They caught it early. "The surgeon is the best we have. He's going to be okay, Claire." "How do you know?" I was shaking. "How can you possibly know?" "Because I made sure." His voice was quiet, certain. "I was here when they brought him in. I stayed with him until they took him upstairs. And I called the surgeon myself, woke him up, told him this was my girlfriend's father and he needed to get his ass out of bed and do the best work of his life." I stared at him. "You did that?" He shrugged, embarrassed. "It's what you do. For people you." He didn't finish the sentence. But he didn't have to. That night, sitting in the waiting room with my mother, I watched Liam move through the hospital like he owned it. Not with arrogance, never with arrogance, but with a quiet authority that made people listen. He checked on my father between his own patients. He brought my mother coffee and made sure she drank it. He sat with me during the long, terrible hours and didn't try to fill the silence with empty words. When my father finally came out of surgery, when the doctor said he was going to be fine, Liam was the first person I hugged. And when I pulled back, he was looking at me with those warm brown eyes, and I knew. I knew I was in trouble. A year later, we were living together. A small apartment above a hardware store, barely big enough for 2 people, but we didn't care. We filled it with second-hand furniture and takeout containers and the sound of our laughter echoing off the thin walls. He proposed on a Tuesday. Not with the ring, that came later. Just with words. We were lying in bed, the window open, the sound of rain filling the room. He was tracing patterns on my arm, the way he always did when he was thinking. "Claire," he said quietly, "I want to spend the rest of my life with you." I turned to look at him. In the dim light, his face was serious, open, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen before. "I know it soon," he continued. "I know we are young, but I also know that I've never felt this way about anyone. And I don't want to wait to tell you. I don't want to wait for anything where you're concerned." I should have said yes. I should have kissed him and held him and let myself be happy. Instead, I said nothing. Because even then, even in that perfect moment, there was a voice in my head whispering, "Is this it? Is this all there is?" The voice got louder over time. It whispered when I watched my friends post pictures of their travels, their adventures, their lives in cities that glowed with possibility. It whispered when patients asked me how long I'd been a nurse, and I realized the answer was too long and not long enough at the same time. It whispered when Liam talked about our future, the house we'd buy, the kids would have, the life we'd build right here, in this town, when nothing ever changed. I loved him. I loved him so much it hurt. But I also resented him. Resented his contentment, his satisfaction, his willingness to stay in the place we'd both grown up and call it enough. The worst part? He saw it. He always saw it. One night, about 6 months before I left, he came home from a double shift and found me staring at a brochure for a nursing program in Chicago. I'd hidden it under the mail, but he found it anyway. He always found everything. Chicago. His voice was careful, neutral. I snatched it away, embarrassed. It's nothing. Just something I was looking at. Claire. He sat down across from me, his face tired but open. Talk to me. So I did. I told him everything. The restlessness. The fear. The feeling that I was disappearing, day by day, into a life that wasn't quite mine. I told him I love him, but I didn't know if love was enough. I told him I was scared that one day I'd wake up and realize I'd become someone I didn't recognize. Someone who settled, who gave up, who let her dreams die in a small town with one traffic light. He listened. He didn't interrupt. When I finally finished, crying and exhausted, he took my hands in his. Then go, he said quietly. I looked up, shocked. What? Go to Chicago. Go to the program. See what's out there. His voice was steady, but his eyes were wet. I'm not going to be the reason you stay. I can't be that. If you stay, it has to be because you want to. Because I'm what you want. Not because you're scared to leave. I don't know if I can do long distance, I whispered. I don't know if I can be away from you. Neither do I. He squeezed my hands. But I'd rather try and fail than wonder what if for the rest of my life. That was the thing about Liam. He wasn't weak. He wasn't clingy. He was strong enough to let me go, even though it was killing him. He was secure enough in himself to know that if I came back, it would be real. And if I didn't, at least he'd know he tried. I applied to the program the next week. I got in the month after that. And then, 6 months later, I stood in the diner parking lot and watched him walk away. He's good, you know. The voice pulls me back to the present. A nurse I don't recognize is adjusting my speaking to someone beside her. Dr. O'Connor. I've never seen him like this with a patient. Usually he's so calm. But with her, he's different. Maybe he knows her, the other nurse whispers. Maybe. I want to tell them yes. I want to tell them he knows me better than anyone. I want to tell them that 5 years ago, I broke his heart, and now I'm lying here, and he's the only thing keeping me alive. But I can't speak. I can only drift. And somewhere, above me, I hear his voice again. Softer this time. Private. Like he thinks I can't hear. 5 years, Claire. 5 years I've wondered where you were. If you were happy. If you ever thought about me. A pause. A shaky breath. I told myself I was over it. I told myself I was over you. But the second I saw your face, I knew I was lying. His hand finds mine. Warm. Steady. Familiar in a way that makes my heart ache. Don't die, Claire. Not yet. Not before I get to tell you. Not before I get to say all the things I should have said 5 years ago. I try to squeeze his fingers. I try so hard. But my body won't obey. And the darkness pulls me under again. That's what drags me back. Not a voice, not a touch, but the sound of machines announcing my body's betrayal in shrill, urgent tones. The beeping that was steady becomes erratic, becomes a warning, becomes a wall of noise that fills the trauma bay and sends everyone into motion. She's crashing. Pressure is 50 over pulp. She's in VTAC, she's in VTAC. Clear. The last word is his. Liam's voice, cutting through the chaos like a blade. I feel the charge before it hits, a strange, electric hum in the air, and then my body arches off the bed, every muscle contracting at once, and I swear I can see light behind my closed eyelids. Not the fluorescent kind. Something older. Something that feels like an ending. When I come back down, the beeping is different. Slower. Regular. But the voices haven't stopped. Sinus rhythm back. Good push. BP still dropping. She's losing too much blood. We need to get her to the OR now. Trauma surgery is tied up. Car wreck on the highway, 3 victims, they're all ahead of her. The words hang in the air. Ahead of her. There are people ahead of her. People who will live, maybe, while she. No. Liam's voice again. Different this time. Not the calm authority of a doctor. Something rawer. Something that doesn't belong in a trauma bay. No, We are not waiting. We are not letting her code again while we wait for a surgeon who's busy with people who aren't even here yet. Dr. O'Connor, with all due respect, she's not stable enough to move and we don't have anyone. I'll do it. Silence. Even the machines seem to pause. You're an ER doc, not a trauma surgeon. You can't. I can. His voice is steel wrapped around broken glass. I spent 2 years of my residency on a trauma rotation at Cook County. I've done these surgeries. I've done them in worse conditions with less help. She dies if we wait. She might live if I try. Those are the numbers. That's the math. So get out of my way and let me do my job. Someone starts to protest. He cuts them off. That's an order. I've never heard him like this. The Liam I knew was steady, yes. Authoritative when he needed to be. But this is something else. This is a man who has decided that the rules don't apply. That the protocol doesn't matter. That he will tear down the entire hospital brick by brick if that's what it takes to keep me alive. They're moving me again. Faster this time. Running. The gurney wheels scream against the floor and someone is holding pressure on my side and Liam is beside me, always beside me, his hand gripping the rail of the gurney like he's afraid to let go. You're going to make it, Claire. His voice is low, meant only for me. Do you hear me? You're going to make it because I'm not losing you again. I didn't fight for you 5 years ago. I let you go. I told myself it was the right thing, the noble thing, but it was cowardice. I was scared you'd choose Chicago anyway. I was scared I wasn't enough. So I let you walk away and I spent 5 years telling myself I was over it, telling myself I was fine, telling myself lies. The gurney crashes through a set of double doors. New lights. New faces. A different room, smaller, full of equipment I recognize from too many shifts spent assisting in surgeries just like this one. I'm not letting you go this time. His voice breaks on the last word. Just a little. Just enough for me to hear. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you leave again when this is over. I don't care if you go back to Chicago and forget my name. But you're not dying today. Not on my watch. Not ever. They transfer me to a table. The lights above are so bright they hurt, even through my closed eyes. Hands are everywhere, cutting away my clothes, cleaning my skin, starting new fours, checking monitors. The chaos is organized now, purposeful, each person with a role, each movement precise. And Liam is at the center of it. Scalpel. Someone places it in his hand. His hand. The same hand that once traced patterns on my arm in the dark. The same hand that held a velvet box in a parking lot 5 years ago. The same hand that let me go. Now it holds a blade that will cut me open. That will save me or lose me. That will determine, in the next few minutes, whether I live or die. I want to tell him something. Anything. That I'm sorry. That I never stopped loving him. That Chicago was a mistake and every day away from him was a day I regretted. That the more I found was just more emptiness, just more nights alone in a city full of people, just more moments where I reached for him and found only air. But I can't speak. I can only lie here, broken and bleeding, and trust him with my life. He leans down. Close. So close I can feel his breath on my cheek. Claire, I need you to hear me. I'm going to put you under now. When you wake up, this will all be over. You're going to be okay. I'm going to make sure you're okay. But I need you to fight. I need you to stay here. Don't go toward the light. Don't go anywhere. You stay with me. Do you understand? I can't nod. I can't squeeze his hand. But I can do one thing. I can open my eyes. Just for a second. Just long enough to find his face above me, masked and gowned, but unmistakably him. Just long enough for our eyes to meet. He inhales sharply. Like I've punched him. Claire. I look at him. I pour everything I can't say into that look. The apology. The love. The regret. The hope. And then the anesthesia hits my fore, and the world starts to dissolve. The last thing I see is his face. The last thing I hear is his voice, soft and desperate and full of everything we were and everything we might have been. I've got you. I've always got you. I don't dream. Not really. But I drift through something that feels like memories, like flashes of a life I used to know. Liam laughing at something stupid I said, his whole face lit up with it. Liam holding a screaming child in the ER, so gentle, so patient, until the crying stopped. Liam in the dark, his voice rough with sleep, telling me he loved me like it was the most natural thing in the world. Liam in the parking lot, walking away, the velvet box still in his pocket. Liam now. Liam here. Liam fighting for me with everything he has. The drifting stops. Something changes. I don't know what. I can't feel my body, can't hear the monitors, can't sense anything but a strange, pulling quiet, but I know something is different. I know I'm closer to the edge than I was before. Stop bleeding. Come on, stop bleeding. Claire, you have to help me here. You have to stop bleeding. His voice. Faint. Distant. Like his at the end of a long tunnel. I try to reach toward it. I try to follow the sound back to my body, back to the light, back to him. But something is pulling me the other way. Something quiet. Something peaceful. Something that whispers, rest now, you've been fighting so long. Claire, don't you dare. Don't you dare leave me again. The whisper gets louder, more insistent. I feel myself sliding, slipping, the tether that holds me to my body growing thinner and thinner. Squeeze my hand. Claire, please. Squeeze my hand. Just once. Just let me know you're still there. I try so hard. But I can't find my hand. I can't find anything. I'm floating in darkness, and the darkness is warm, and the darkness is quiet, and the darkness is asking me to let go. Please. One word. Broken. Desperate. The sound of a man who has spent 5 years pretending to be fine, pretending to be over it, pretending that losing me didn't hollow him out and leave him empty. The sound of a man who is about to lose me again. I can't do this without you, Claire. I can't go back to that. I can't spend another 5 years wondering. I can't spend another day. Please come back to me. The darkness wavers. The warmth flickers. Somewhere, in a body I can no longer feel, in a hand I can no longer move, something responds. Not much. Just a twitch. Just a whisper of movement. Just enough. I felt that. Claire, I felt that. Do it again. Squeeze my hand again. Come on. Come back to me. I push. I push against the darkness with everything I have left. I think of his face. His voice. His hands. The life we almost had. The life we might still have, if I can just hold on. I squeeze. When I wake up, really wake up, not the drifting half-consciousness of before, the first thing I see is a ceiling. White tiles. Fluorescent lights, dimmed now. The second thing I see is a face. Liam. He's sitting in a chair beside my bed, still in his scrubs, still wearing his white coat. His head is bowed, his hands clasped in front of him, and he's so still I think he might be asleep. But he's not asleep. When I move my fingers, just slightly, just enough to rustle the sheets, his head snaps up. His eyes are red. His face is pale. He looks like he's been through a war. Claire. My name. Just my name. But the way he says it holds everything. Relief. Exhaustion. Love. Fear. Hope. I try to speak. My throat is raw, my mouth dry, but I force the words out anyway. Liam. He moves then. Rises from the chair, comes to the side of the bed, takes my hand in his. His touch is gentle, careful, like I'm something precious that might break. Hey, he whispers. Hey, I whisper back. And for a moment, that's enough. That's everything. Then his face changes. The relief fades, replaced by something else. Something heavy. Something terrible. Claire, I need to tell you something. The way he says my name stops my heart more effectively than any cardiac event. I've heard Liam O'Connor speak 1,000 different ways over the years. Tender in the morning, sleepy and warm. Authoritative in the ER, commanding respect without demanding it, broken in a parking lot, pleading with everything he had. But I've never heard him sound like this. Like each syllable costs him something he can't afford to lose. Claire, I need to tell you something. His hand is still holding mine. But his eyes, those warm brown eyes that have always been my anchor, they're avoiding me. Looking at the monitors. Looking at the wall. Looking anywhere but at my face. What? My voice comes out as a croak. Scratchy from the tube they must have had down my throat. What is it? He doesn't answer right away. Instead, he reaches for a cup of water on the bedside table, brings the straw to my lips, waits while I take a sip. The gesture is so gentle, so familiar, that it makes my chest ache. You've been out for 6 hours, he says quietly. The surgery went well. I got the bleeding under control. Your spleen was damaged. I had to remove it. But you can live without a spleen. People do it every day. I wait. There's more. I can feel it hanging in the air between us, heavy and dark. Liam, just tell me. He finally looks at me, and what I see in his eyes makes my blood run cold. The bleeding. He stops. Starts again. The bleeding was worse than I thought when they first brought you in. You lost a lot of blood, Claire. Too much. By the time I got you on the table, your organs had been without enough oxygen for too long. I don't understand. I'm awake. I'm talking. I'm alive. Your kidneys, he says quietly. They took too much damage. We've got you on dialysis right now, just temporarily, just to see if they'll bounce back. But they won't. I finish the sentence for him. It's not a question. He shakes his head. Just once. Barely a movement at all. We don't know yet. Sometimes they surprise us. Sometimes the body finds a way. But Claire, I need you to be prepared for the possibility that they won't. That you might need long-term dialysis. Or a transplant. I stare at him. Of all the things I expected him to say, this wasn't it. I survived the surgery. I survived the crash. I'm awake. I'm breathing. I'm here. How can I still be dying? There's more. His voice drops even lower. The kidney damage isn't the worst of it. The worst of it is. He stops. Looks away again. When he speaks next, his voice is raw in a way I've never heard. The worst of it is that your brain went without oxygen too long. Before we got you stabilized. Before I got you on the table. Your heart stopped twice in the trauma bay, Claire. Twice. We brought you back both times. But the second time was close. Too close. The room feels suddenly cold. Liam, what are you saying? He turns back to me, and I see it then. The thing he's been trying to hide. The thing that's been in his eyes since I woke up, masked by relief and exhaustion and the desperate hope that I wouldn't notice. Grief. I'm saying we don't know yet what the damage is. You're awake. You're talking. That's good. That's better than we had any right to expect. But there could be. He swallows hard. There could be deficits. Memory problems. Cognitive issues. We won't know until you're stronger. Until we can run tests. I absorb this in silence. My brain, the thing that might be damaged, turning over the possibility of its own damage. But I'm awake, I say slowly. I'm talking to you. I remember everything. I remember the crash. I remember the trauma bay. I remember you. Something flickers in his eyes. Hope, maybe. Or fear. I can't tell anymore. I remember you in the parking lot. I continue. 5 years ago. I remember what you said. I remember the ring. I remember walking away. His breath catches. Just barely. Just enough for me to notice. I remember Chicago. Every lonely night. Every moment I wished I'd made a different choice. My voice is getting stronger now, fueled by something I can't name. I remember coming home for holidays and hoping I'd run into you, and being relieved when I didn't, because I didn't know what I'd say. I remember telling myself I made the right decision. I remember never believing it. Claire. Let me finish. I squeeze his hand. It takes effort. I'm so weak I can barely manage it, but I do it anyway. I don't know if my brain is damaged. Maybe it is. Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and forget my own name. But right now, in this moment, I remember everything. And the thing I remember most clearly is that I never stopped loving you. He closes his eyes. Just for a second. When he opens them, they are wet. Don't, he whispers. Don't say that. Not now. Not when. Not when what? He pulls his hand away from mine. Stands up. Walks to the window. For a long moment, he just stands there, looking out at the parking lot, at the ordinary world going about its ordinary business while inside this room, everything is falling apart. Not when I have to go talk to your parents. The words hit me like a physical blow. My parents. They are here. They've been here since we called them. Your mother is a wreck. Your father is trying to be strong, but I can see him falling apart. His voice is flat. Clinical. The doctor voice. They've been waiting 6 hours for news. 6 hours. Claire. And I'm the one who has to give it to them. I remember now. The waiting room. The families. The terrible, endless waiting while doctors fought to save the people they loved. I've been on the other side of that door. I've held hands and brought coffee and delivered news that shattered lives. I never imagined Liam would be the one delivering that news to my parents. They know, I say slowly. They know about us. About you and me. My mother still talks about you. She never understood why I left. She always hoped. I know. His voice is still flat. I saw her face when I walked out to get them 5 hours ago. The moment she recognized me. The hope in her eyes. She thought because it was me, because I was here, that meant you'd be okay. That I'd make sure you were okay. And now you have to tell her. Now I have to tell her that her daughter might have brain damage. That her daughter might need a kidney transplant. That her daughter almost died on my table and I don't know if I saved her enough. He turns from the window. His face is wet now. He doesn't wipe the tears away. I have to look at the woman who used to make me dinner every Sunday. The woman who called me her favorite almost son-in-law. I have to look at her and tell her that I did everything I could, and it might not be enough. I reach for him. My arm feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds, but I reach anyway. Liam, come here. He doesn't move. Please. Something in my voice breaks through. He crosses the room slowly, takes my hand again, sits on the edge of the bed. His shoulders are shaking. Just a little. Just enough. Listen to me, I say quietly. You saved my life. You fought for me when no one else would. You broke every rule in the book to keep me alive. Whatever happens now, that doesn't change. You hear me? That doesn't change. He shakes his head. I should have been faster. I should have. Should have what? Been psychic? Known I was going to be in a car wreck on the highway? You can't save everyone, Liam. You taught me that. In this job, you can't save everyone. I wasn't trying to save everyone. His voice breaks. I was trying to save you. The words hang in the air between us. Heavy with 5 years of longing. Heavy with everything we lost and everything we might still lose. Go talk to my parents, I whisper. Tell them the truth. Tell them I'm awake. Tell them I'm fighting. Tell them. I pause. Think about my mother's face. Her hope. Her love. Tell them I'm sorry. For everything. For leaving. For staying away. For making them worry all these years. Liam nods. Stands. Wipes his face with the back of his hand. I'll come back, he says. As soon as I'm done. I'll come back and sit with you. If you want me to. I want you to. He starts to turn away, then stops. Looks at me one more time. Claire, 5 years ago, I begged you not to leave. Today. He swallows. Today I'm begging you to stay. To fight. To not give up. Whatever happens with your kidneys, whatever happens with your brain, you just have to stay. We'll figure out the rest. But you have to stay. I look at him. This man who loved me enough to let me go. This man who fought to save me even though I broke his heart. This man who is about to walk into a waiting room and shatter my parents' world. I'll stay, I whisper. I promise. He holds my gaze for one long, terrible moment. Then he nods, turns, and walks out the door. And I lie alone in the too-bright room, listening to the monitor's beep, waiting to find out if my promise is one I can keep. The minutes stretch into forever. I drift in and out. The nurses come and go, checking my vitals, adjusting my medications, offering me small sips of water and words of encouragement. They look at me differently now. They know. They know I'm not just a patient. They know I'm the woman their boss almost married. They know he operated on me with shaking hands and a breaking heart. I wonder what they're saying in the break room. I wonder if they're placing bets on whether I'll live, whether I'll walk again, whether I'll remember my own name tomorrow. I wonder if Liam is okay. An hour passes. Maybe more. Time moves strangely when you're lying in a hospital bed, waiting for news that might never come. Then the door opens. It's not Liam. It's my mother. She looks older than I remember. Smaller. Her face is pale and streaked with tears, but she's standing on her own 2 feet, and when she sees me, she smiles. It's a wobbly smile, a broken smile, but it's real. Claire. Mom. She crosses the room in 3 quick steps, takes my face in her hands, and kisses my forehead. Her hands are shaking. So is mine. He told us, she whispers. Liam told us everything. About the kidneys. About your brain. About everything. I brace myself for the tears, the recriminations, the why did you leave, the I told you so. Instead, she just holds me. He loves you, she says quietly. He never stopped. All these years, he never stopped. I used to see him sometimes, at the grocery store, at the diner. He always asked about you. Always wanted to know if you were okay. And I could see it in his eyes, the way he still looked at your name, your memory, like you were the most precious thing in the world. I close my eyes. Let the tears come. He's out there now, she continues. Talking to your father. Telling him what to expect. What to watch for. How to help. He's not just your doctor, Claire. He's not just the man you left. His family. He always was. I know. He wants to come back, she says. But he wanted to give us a few minutes first. He wanted me to tell you something. I open my eyes. What? She smiles. That wobbly, broken, beautiful smile. He said to tell you he's keeping his promise. The one he made 5 years ago. He said he meant every word then, and he means them now. And he'll mean them 5 years from now. 10 years from now. However long it takes. My heart cracks open. Can you send him in? I whisper. Please. My mother kisses my forehead one more time. Of course, baby. Of course. She leaves. The door closes. And I wait. When Liam walks back in, his eyes are red but his face is calm. The doctor mask is back in place. But I can see through it now. I can always see through it. He sits beside me. Takes my hand. Doesn't speak. Liam. Yeah. 5 years ago, you asked me to stay. And I didn't. I chose me over us. I chose ambition over love. And I've regretted it every single day since. He starts to speak. I squeeze his hand, stopping him. Let me finish. I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't know if my kidneys will fail. I don't know if my brain is damaged. I don't know if I'll walk out of this hospital or if they'll carry me out in a box. But I know one thing. I look into his eyes. Those warm brown eyes that have held my heart for 5 years, through distance and silence and everything in between. I'm done running. I'm done choosing anything over you. If you'll have me, if you can forgive me for leaving, for staying away, for wasting 5 years we could have had, then I'm staying. Not just in this hospital. Not just in this town. With you. For as long as I have. His breath catches. His hand tightens on mine. Claire. I know it's a lot. I know I'm asking for everything when I have nothing to offer. I know I might be damaged, might be broken, might be more trouble than I'm worth. But he kisses me. It's gentle, careful, mindful of the tubes and the monitors and the fragile, fighting body beneath them. But it's real. It's 5 years of longing poured into a single moment. When he pulls back, his eyes are wet again. But he's smiling. You're not damaged, he whispers. You're not broken. You're the woman I've loved since the moment you laughed at me in triage. You're the woman I never stopped loving, even when I tried. You're the woman I will love for the rest of my life, however long or short that is. He presses his forehead to mine. So yes, I'll have you. I'll always have you. I'll take whatever time we get, and I'll be grateful for every second. I close my eyes. Let myself feel it. The warmth of his skin against mine. The steady beat of his heart, so close, so real. For the first time in 5 years, I'm home. The days that follow blur together in a haze of beeping monitors and whispered conversations and the constant, quiet presence of Liam O'Connor. He's there every morning when I wake up. There every night when I drift off. He sleeps in the chair beside my bed, still in his scrubs, still ready to spring into action at the slightest change in my condition. The nurses bring him coffee. The other doctors cover his shifts. No one questions it. No one says a word. They all know. The tests come back slowly. Each one a small victory or a small defeat. My kidneys are damaged, but they're functioning. Not well enough to avoid dialysis, but well enough to hope. My brain scans come back clear. No permanent damage, no deficits, no signs that the oxygen deprivation left its mark. The doctors call it a miracle. Liam calls it Claire being stubborn. I call it coming home. On the 5th day, they move me out of the ICU and into a regular room. It's smaller, quieter. There's a window that looks out at the parking lot where Liam once stood, 5 years ago, watching me drive away. He's standing there now, leaning against the same lamppost, looking up at my window. I raise my hand. Wave. He waves back. And for a moment, the years between us collapse into nothing. He comes up 20 minutes later with coffee. Black, with an extra shot of espresso. Just like he used to bring me during our shifts together. You remembered, I say, taking the cup. I remember everything. He sits on the edge of the bed. The question is, do you? I know what he's asking. Not about the accident. About us. About everything I said in the moments after I woke up. About the promise I made. I remember, I say quietly. I remember all of it. He nods. Looks down at his hands. Those hands that saved my life. Those hands that held a velvet box in a parking lot 5 years ago. Claire, I need to ask you something. My heart stutters. Okay. He reaches into his pocket. Pulls out a small velvet box. The same one. The one he showed me that night in the diner parking lot. The one he put away when I chose to leave. This has been in my nightstand drawer for 5 years, he says quietly. I couldn't throw it away. Couldn't return it. Couldn't do anything but keep it and hope. Hope that one day you'd come back. Hope that one day I'd get another chance. He opens the box. The ring inside is simple. A small diamond set in gold, surrounded by tiny sapphires. His grandmother's ring. The one his grandfather gave her 60 years ago, before he shipped off to war, before she waited for him through years of uncertainty and fear. I was going to give this to you at the Overlook, he continues. The place where we had our first real conversation. Where you told me about your dreams, your fears, your need for more. I thought if I gave it to you there, you'd understand. You'd see that I wasn't trying to hold you back. I was trying to build a future with you. A future where we could have both, the love and the adventure, the stability and the growth. I can't breathe, can't speak, can't do anything but stare at the ring, at the man holding it, at the 5 years of longing crystallized into this single moment. I know you might still want to leave, he says. I know Chicago might still be calling. I know your career is there, your life is there, everything you built when you walked away from me. And I'm not going to ask you to give that up. I'm not going to beg you to stay this time. He takes my hand. His is shaking. I'm going to ask you something different. I'm going to ask you if you'll let me come with you. The words hang in the air. I stare at him, uncomprehending. What? Chicago. He says it like it's simple. Like it's nothing. Like uprooting his entire life, leaving the only home he's ever known, is as easy as breathing. I've been here 15 years. I've done good work. Saved lives. Helped people. But I've also been hiding. Hiding from the memory of you. Hiding from the empty apartment and the quiet nights and the constant, aching knowledge that I let you go without a fight. He squeezes my hand. I'm done hiding. I'm done waiting. If you want to go back to Chicago, we'll go. I'll find a job there. We'll find an apartment. We'll build a life together, the one we should have built 5 years ago. And if you want to stay here, we'll stay. It doesn't matter to me, Claire. The only thing that matters is you. Tears are streaming down my face. I don't try to stop them. Liam. I know it's fast. I know we have a lot to figure out. Your recovery. Your health. The million little details of merging two lives that have been separate for half a decade. But I don't want to wait anymore. I don't want to waste another day. Life is too short, and it's too precious, and I learned that watching you almost slip away from me on that table. He takes the ring from the box. Holds it between us. Claire Elizabeth Mitchell. I've loved you since the moment you laughed at me in triage. I've loved you through every shift we worked together, every meal we shared, every moment we spent building something beautiful. I've loved you through 5 years of silence and 5 days of terror and 5 minutes of hope. I will love you for the rest of my life, whatever that looks like, wherever that takes us. His eyes meet mine. Will you marry me? The room is silent except for the distant beeping of monitors and the sound of my own heart, pounding so hard I'm surprised it doesn't set off alarms. I look at the ring. Simple. Beautiful. Full of history and hope and the promise of a future I never let myself imagine. I look at his face. Tired. Hopeful. Scared. Loving. And I remember everything. The parking lot. The velvet box. The walk away. The trauma bay. The desperate voice. The fight to save me. The waiting room. My mother's tears. His promise. The moment he kissed me, gentle and careful and full of 5 years of longing. Liam. My voice is barely a whisper. I have to tell you something. His face flickers. Fear, quickly masked. Okay. I take a breath. Let it out slow. I'm not going back to Chicago. He blinks. What? I quit my job. 6 months ago. The words tumble out, fast and nervous. I was miserable. I'd been miserable for years. I kept telling myself it was what I wanted, that I'd made the right choice, that the restlessness would fade and I'd finally feel like I belonged. But it never happened. Every day was the same. Every night was empty. Every success felt hollow because there was no one to share it with. I grip his hand tighter. I came back 6 months ago. Got an apartment across town. Started looking for work at the county hospital, the one where we met, the one where you still work. I was going to surprise you. I was going to show up one day and explain everything and beg you to give me another chance. But I was scared. Scared you'd moved on. Scared you'd found someone else. Scared you'd take one look at me and see the woman who broke your heart. He's staring at me. Processing. So I waited. I told myself I'd do it next week, next month, when the timing was better. And then I kept waiting. And waiting. Until one day I was driving on the highway, and a car ran a red light, and suddenly I was here. In your hospital. On your table. Dying in front of you before I ever got the chance to tell you I came back. Silence. Long, heavy. Stretching. Then Liam laughs. It's not a happy laugh. Not quite. It's the sound of a man who has spent 5 years mourning something that was already on its way back to him. The sound of relief and disbelief and the strange, beautiful cruelty of timing. You came back, he says. 6 months ago. You came back. I came back. And you've been here. This whole time. In the same town. While I was walking past your apartment every day on my way to work, having no idea. I'm sorry. I should have. He kisses me. Harder this time. Not gentle, not careful, but desperate and relieved and full of everything we've both been holding onto for 5 long years. When he pulls back, he's grinning. Actually grinning. Like a kid who just got the best Christmas present of his life. Claire Mitchell, you are the most infuriating, wonderful, impossible woman I have ever met. I know. I'm crying and laughing at the same time. Is that a yes? To the question? The one you asked before I interrupted with my life story. He looks at the ring still in his hand. Looks at me. Looks at the ring again. It's a yes, he says. It's 1,000 yeses. It's all the yeses I've been saving up for 5 years. He slides the ring onto my finger. It fits perfectly. Like it was always meant to be there. Like I was always meant to come home. The door opens. My mother stands there, frozen, taking in the scene. Liam on the edge of the bed, me with tears streaming down my face, the ring on my finger. Oh, she breathes. Oh, honey. Behind her, my father appears. Sees the ring. Sees our faces. A slow smile spreads across his weathered features. Well, he says. It's about damn time. My mother crosses the room in 3 steps, wraps her arms around both of us, and cries into Liam's shoulder. He holds her like she's his own mother. Like she always was. Welcome to the family, she whispers. Welcome home. Later that night, when visiting hours are over and the hospital has gone quiet, Liam sits beside my bed and holds my hand. I meant what I said, he tells me. About going anywhere. Doing anything. Whatever you need, whatever you want, it's yours. I look at the ring on my finger. At the man beside me. At the life stretching out before us, uncertain and terrifying and beautiful. I want to stay, I say quietly. I want to work at the county hospital. I want to live in a small apartment above a hardware store. I want to have Sunday dinners with my parents and argue about whose turn it is to host Christmas. I want to build a life here, with you, in the place I was always running from. He squeezes my hand. Are you sure? You won't get restless? Won't start dreaming of more? I shake my head. I spent 5 years chasing more. And all I found was less. Less connection. Less meaning. Less love. I meet his eyes. You are my more, Liam. You always were. I was just too scared to see it. He leans in. Kisses me softly. Then we stay, he whispers. We build our life right here. Together. The months that follow are hard. Dialysis 3 times a week. Physical therapy to rebuild strength I didn't know I'd lost. The slow, careful work of healing a body that nearly gave up. But through all of it, Liam is there. Holding my hand during treatments. Cheering me on during therapy. Holding me at night when the fear and the frustration become too much. We get married 6 months later, in the small chapel at the county hospital. My parents are there. His mother flies in from Florida. The nurses from the ER fill 2 entire pews. Liam wears his white coat. I wear a simple white dress and his grandmother's ring. When the pastor asks if anyone objects, the entire room laughs. When he asks if I take this man, I look at Liam, really look at him, and I see everything. The parking lot. The trauma bay. The desperate fight to save me. The quiet, steady love that never wavered, even when I did. I do, I say. I do. I do. I do. He kisses me. The room erupts in applause. And somewhere, in the back of my mind, I hear the echo of a voice from 5 years ago. The voice of a man in a parking lot, begging me not to leave. He doesn't have to beg anymore. I'm home. Today, I walk through the emergency room doors as a nurse. Not a patient. Not a ghost from the past. Just Claire Mitchell O'Connor, RN, reporting for her first shift at the county hospital. The nurses at the triage desk look up as I approach. Smile. Wave. "Welcome back," one of them says. I smile. "Thanks. It's good to be back." And it is. It's good to be back in the place where I fell in love. Good to be back in the place where I almost died. Good to be back in the place where I finally learned that running isn't the same as living. Liam appears in the doorway of the trauma bay. His eyes find mine across the chaos of the emergency room. He smiles. I smile back. And for the first time in 5 years, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.